Ryan, I know you've never seen it like this. What's the biggest mistake we make now when we get into a poll frenzy this early in the final campaign?
Yeah, I think that what everyone needs to do as you're looking at the polls is take a deep breath and look at the averages. What we see a lot of right now is that there are daily different polls coming out, and each one of those gets sort of played up. And I think it's sort of like, it's like the health coverage, right? You'll see something that says like olive oil is good for your heart, says a study. And some people will immediately react and start, putting olive oil on everything they eat. You stick to what your doctor tells you. Look at the big picture here.
Yeah.
Eat healthy and don't pay too much attention to a single individual poll or healthcare study.
Where's the margin of error best? Where is the most believability? In national polls or in swing state, more narrow polls, say on Wisconsin?
So this is another kind of misnomer I think that people have, that there's a difference between the national polls and the state level polls. It obviously is good for us to have lots of different state level polls because that can give us a sense of like what different parts of the country are going through. But people move in large groups, and what you're really measuring with state polls is how the particular makeup of those groups is feeling on that day. For example, if the president is doing better among Hispanic voters, then states that have, blocks of Hispanic voters may see a shift in that direction. So in the absence of good state polls, a good national level poll will give you a sense of like where things are trending. And also in this particular race, they really just aren't trending. This president has been frozen in amber since day, 5 or so of his presidency. Opinion has not changed on him. The conventions didn't change the dynamic. Not a lot has changed the dynamic. So that's the other thing to look at is that, unless there's a really big swing, things are pretty much basically where they've been.
Good morning to you, Ryan. I'm transfixed by some lovely graphics attached to a piece that you've done for Bloomberg.com this morning, which asks how badly could the election go, by which I think you don't mean a particular electoral outcome, but just the process. How messy could it be? How distracted could we be, and for how long by this process? We have to go back to, 1876 and 2000 to find very messy incidents around the US election. And how bad could it get then? If we play this game that you've set up for us on Bloomberg.com, how bad a situation could we see unfold?
Yeah, so I've been talking with a lot of constitutional experts and political experts and people like that, trying to game out the different scenarios. And I just say, there are some deeply weird outcomes that are entirely within the realm of possibility in this particular election. Now, the U.S. system is it's kind of a Rube Goldberg contraption, and there's always the possibility of some weird outcomes. But the fact that we have two candidates who are very unlikely to concede if it doesn't look like things are going their way because their supporters don't want them to, and because there will be questions on both sides, some legitimate, some not, over how we got those results, I think you're much more likely to end up in one of those weird places.
Ryan, one of the things percolating right now, Kevin Cerulli's brought this up, but many others as well, is that we've all made up our mind. How large are the undecideds right now?
There is really no undecided group right now in America. The question for November is who shows up, which people decide to vote, and which people are able to vote if there are problems with how the voting process works. So I don't think that there's really, polls don't show that there's very many people who are undecided. And the polls also show that there's an extremely high number of people who have chosen a candidate who say that there is literally nothing that would change their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have decided they're either for Trump or they are against Trump, essentially. They're for Biden, but mostly they're saying that they're against Trump. And nothing is going to move them.